This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. I, of course, am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 7 in the National Football League, Tuesday edition of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me here on the program. And if it's Tuesday, you know what that means. We've got to backtrack and take a look at the Monday Night Showcase. That's right, Monday Night Football, St. Louis Rams at home hosting the San Francisco 49ers in a matchup that is huge for both teams, but more so the 49ers than the St. Louis Rams, and here's why. 49ers have already lost a game within the division. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals already on the road, so you can't afford to drop to 0-2 within this division. You got to get this one on the road, and it's another road game. So if you're the 49ers, you say, hey, let's keep getting these road games out of the way and backload this schedule with a whole bunch of home dates against these teams within the division so we can kind of get fat off of these teams at our place later on in the season. Seahawks have lost. Cardinals won, so the Cardinals are trying to distance themselves from everybody in this division. You can't let them run away. And the Cardinals are 4-1 right now with a win. You'll just be a half game behind them despite having lost to them this season. And the Seahawks, they lost to the Cowboys on Sunday at home. So now, with the win, you leapfrog the 3-2 Seattle Seahawks. So this is a huge game for the 49ers looking to move up, not only in the standings in their division and improve their record to 1-1 on the season within the division, but they're also looking to leapfrog the Seahawks in this division and take sole possession of second place. So huge game for the 49ers. If you're looking at it from the Rams perspective, you got to stop losing games. You got to stop losing close games. Look, there are no moral victories in this league, so you don't get a juice cup and you don't get rewarded. You don't get a bag of chips and a trophy and a gold medal for coming close. You got to win football games. That's the name of the game in the National Football League. You got to win. You got to find a way to get W's up on the board. And you're coming close, but as a very influential singer once told me, almost doesn't count. And every week the Rams are close, but they have no cigar. So this is an opportunity in front of everyone, the entire nation, for the second year in a row. You're at home on primetime television versus the San Francisco 49ers. Last year was Thursday Night Football. This year it's Monday Night Football. Can you find a way to get it done? You got the crispy unis on. Is there anyone out there that has a better throwback uni than those crispy Ram throwbacks from the 80s and 90s? God, those things look gorgeous. And for some reason last night, they looked even cleaner. Those things were clean. Go ahead and brush your shoulders off. They were clean. Woo! I got hyped just looking at them. I don't know if it was the Monday night lights or what, but those jerseys looked clean. My God, they look good. And so, go out and get you one, man. 49ers are there for the taking. Go out and get you one. And so, here's an opportunity for you to do exactly that. And look, you're only 1-3 on the season. You had a bye week. So if you win this game, get back to 2-3, all of a sudden, you're right there in the discussion in this division. So, hey, I'm just saying a win here would go a long way to making this season maybe not turn out the way that it looked like it was going to turn out just 3 weeks ago. So, huge game for both teams. So, let's jump into this game and talk about the outcome and how it came to be. Beautiful opening drive for the St. Louis Rams. 11 plays, 80 yards, and this drive included a multitude of things. You had two 49ers penalties helping them out, one on Ahmad Brooks for a hands to the face. You also had an Eric Reed legal contact penalty down towards the end zone, which helped them get a 1-yard Benny Cunningham touchdown. 7-0, Rams take the lead. That's huge. To take a lead, to get the football first, and to march right down the field and get in the end zone, that basically said to the San Francisco 49ers, you may not need your A game to beat us. We're not good enough to force you to have to bring your A game. But you need your B game tonight. If you don't bring your B game, and if you try to come and show up with a C+ game, we're going to win tonight. That's what that first touchdown said. Hey, you're in for a dogfight tonight. I don't know what you thought you were getting yourself into when you showed up here in St. Louis. But I'm here to tell you, after that opening possession, I hope you know you need a B. You need a B game tonight. You need either a B+. It better not be a B- either. You need either a B or a B+ game to get us tonight. Because if you don't bring that type of game and you try to slide with a C+ game, we're going to bite you. That B's going to stand for a bite. Because we're going to jump up and bite you and get a W. So that first possession sent a statement. It sent a message. Hey, we're here to play football. And if you're not, we'll win. We'll take the W if you don't want it. And so 7-0 Rams. Vance McDonald walloped on a play by Rodney McLeod Jr. Ball pops free. It's recovered by James Laurinaitis. And then Trey Mason pops one in. All the young pups. It was so refreshing to see all of the young pups out there getting an opportunity in this game. E.J. Gaines has been starting for a while now at the cornerback position. He was on display, a 6th-round pick out of Missouri. And I must say, I've been pleasantly surprised with him. I thought that he was a solid corner, but not a guy you wanted out there. But he's actually been playing some good football. So he was on display. Then you had all the guys that you've been waiting for. Trey Mason, 3rd-round selection. Finally brought up and given an opportunity to play. This was his first NFL action, and he looked damn good. You could see the explosion. You could see the power. You could see the burst. You saw everything that made this guy a 3rd-round pick. The one thing that was also on display that you could also understand why he couldn't get on the field was the pass pro. And he struggled in this game with pass pro, was run over one time by Anton Bethea. But that's to be expected. That's always the last thing to come from running backs making the transition from college to the NFL is pass pro. Knowing what my responsibility is and then actually digging my feet in and making a solid block, anchoring down and protecting my quarterback. That's something he's going to have to work on. But as far as him having the football in his hands and running with it, he looked really good. And that's a great sign for the St. Louis Rams. You also had Greg Robinson, your number 2 overall selection out of Auburn. He's getting an opportunity to make his first NFL start at left guard. And it's going to be interesting to see how long it is before he's kicked outside to left tackle, where I think he's more of a natural fit, because Jake Long is starting to make a weekly habit of getting beat and giving up a sack that forces a fumble. Last week against the Eagles, it was Trent Cole beating him like a drum, getting to Austin Davis, sacking him, ball coming out, and the Eagles recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. That was a huge play in the game. You end up losing the game by 6. That could easily have been one of those plays that was avoidable, that could maybe have turned the tide in one way or the other. You never know. But this week, it was Dan Scudo who came into the game with no career sacks. So we're not talking about a premier pass rusher here. We're talking about an average guy beating him around the edge, getting to Austin Davis and forcing the football out. Luckily enough for you, Scott Wells was able to pounce on the football. So Jake Long, it's only a matter of time before you realize, okay, we got to move on from Jake Long. And I think that guy is going to be your young fella. And so it was good to see him getting some action. And he was playing against one of the best, against Justin Smith, the cowboy down there. And I thought he held his own. So it was good to see him getting some work down there along the offensive line. And then, of course, Aaron Donald never, ever trust a man with 2 first names. And so it was good to see him out there. He made a couple of stops on some key pivotal 3rd downs and even on a 4th down. So he was out there playing football. He had been platooning in and out of the lineup, but he finally got a chance to start. So all of the young guys were on display. Your 2 first-rounders, Greg Robinson and Aaron Donald, and your 3rd-round pick, Trey Mason, as well as another guy that has been playing all season long in E.J. Gaines. So all of the young pups were out there on full display, and I thought all of them played well. So Mason pops one, and that sets up a 22-yard Lance Kendricks touchdown. He's wide open on a corner route. It's a bootleg. It's a rollout for Austin Davis. And remember, keep this between me and you. Don't tell anybody else I said this. I'm starting to like Austin Davis. You didn't hear that from me. Shh, don't tell nobody I said that. But the kid is starting to wear off on me. And I'm telling you right now, he's gaining more confidence. And you're seeing little subtleties in his game that you're like, man, that's pretty nice. I mean, he had one throw where he rolled out across his body to the left. And again, pressure's bearing down on him. It's the 3rd and 4 situation. And he's able to contort his body, make a quick throw to Jared Cook Jr. for 5 yards and a first down. Not a lot of quarterbacks can do that in this league. That was a really nice play. It was a small play. You know, not one of those ones that you'll see on SportsCenter or on the NFL Network or on anybody's highlight reel. But those are the type of plays that extends drives and ends up getting you into the end zone. Those are difference-making plays. A lot of quarterbacks in these leagues, a lot of quarterbacks in this league don't make plays like that. So Austin Davis starting to show you that, hey, I can do a lot of things if given the opportunity. So it's 14-0. Rams on top as we go to the second quarter. Rams playing confident football, but this isn't the first time the Rams have jumped out on an opponent at home big early in a football game. Remember, it was just 3 weeks ago that this team was the Dallas Cowboys instead of the 49ers, and the lead wasn't 14-0, it was 21-0 before you blew that lead. So this isn't uncharted territory for the Rams. The question now becomes, can you hold on to this lead that you've built early in this football game? We shall see. Jimmy Ward partially blocks a Johnny Hekker punt, and it leads to a 54-yard field-the-boot field goal. I don't know where this 49ers team would be without field-the-boot. Last week, it was 5 clutch field goals en route to a 22-17 victory. This week, you're struggling to get any offense going. You can't get anything going. You're putting points on the board. You block a punt. You don't pick up any first downs, and you still have the confidence enough to send field-the-boot out there for a 54-yarder, and he's able to hammer it home. That's a good feeling to have if you're a football team. If you're a coach, to be able to send your kicker out there for a plus 50 anything field goal must feel really good, and know that most oftentimes than not, he's going to knock it home. Must feel good, and field-the-boot makes it. It's 14-3 in this game. Terrible call, and I thought this was the game-changing play right here. And you hate when the officials have a hand in the outcome of the game. It makes you sick to your stomach, but that's what happened here. Terrible call on a Jared Cook OPI. I mean, there was no pass interference. It was a bad call. There was contact at the stem of his route. As he got to the top of his route to try to get across the field, there was contact, but it was by both players. There wasn't an extension of the arms or anything. There was a little bit of a shove, but it wasn't enough. Look, man, there was no way you pulled the flag out for that. That was nonsense. And that was a 3rd down play. It was a pickup of 18 yards on 3rd and 6. Or excuse me, it was a pickup of 18 on 3rd and 9 as he was able to shed the tackler and get up the field and pick up 18. And you throw the flag for OPI, offensive pass interference, and all of a sudden it's 3rd and 19. Rams settle for a draw, have to punt the football. Then the 49ers get the football back. And even though, okay, look, so the officials jerked you around. Absolutely. Can't agree more with you there. The officials did a number on you there because if you pick up that first down, you're close to midfield, and all of a sudden the game is different. Matter of fact, I think you might even be in 49ers territory, if I'm not mistaken, if that play stands. Instead, it's at 3rd and 19, you got to punt the football. But even though the officials really did a number on you there, you still had an opportunity to go to the halftime break up 14-3. Okay, so the officials didn't give the 49ers a touchdown after that. You gave the 49ers a touchdown after that. So, yes, the officials definitely did some serious damage here. But you still had the ability to take a 14-3 lead to the half. You got to feel good about that. You're dominating the game. But to give up an 80-yard touchdown strike with 14 seconds left first of all, where do they do that at? Who does that? When's the last time you seen a team give up when's the last time you seen a team give up a 50-yard touchdown before the half with less than 30 seconds left? Who does that? I mean, at that point, everybody's being double covered. Nobody is allowed to get deep one-on-one in that situation. And Janoris Jenkins, what the hell are you doing, man? You can't fall for a double move there. Nothing gets behind you. I'm pretty sure that was cover 3. I'm pretty sure that was cover 3, which means deeper than the deepest. For those of you who don't know what that means, nobody is supposed to get behind you on your third of the field. Deeper than the deepest. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gets behind you. So a double move shouldn't impact you. You're too damn nosy, man. You can't make every play. That's his problem. He wants a pick 6 on every play. Just do your job. He fell for the double move. B. Lloyd gets behind him. Next thing you know, he's wide open, and Colin Kaepernick is able to hit him with a beautiful pass that he's able to catch in stride and take it the distance. That was the back-breaking play of the game right there. 80 yards with 14 seconds left in the first half. Now it's 14-10. 49ers with all. Uncle Mo was on the sidelines of the St. Louis Rams. I mean, he was kicking up. He had the recliner up, feet up. Man, this is the life. Had a nice, freshly squeezed glass of lemonade, sipping it nice and slow. He didn't plan on moving. And then you do that nonsense, and he put the recliner down. He said, my time over here is up. And he slowly walked across while he was still sipping his lemonade. Thought he was chilling in the shade. He goes over to the sidelines of the 49ers, never to return to the sidelines of the St. Louis Rams. And that's what happens when you aren't disciplined as a football team. Man, that's how you blow a lead right there. When you blow leads, again, I say this all the time, when you blow a big lead, big plays are given up. Teams are undisciplined, you make mistakes, and there was none more costly than the one that happened right before the half with Janoris Jenkins. It's now 14-10 at the halftime break. And let me say this. Even though it's 14-10 and the 49ers have all the momentum at this point, the reason why you're trailing at the half, I've said this already, and I'll say it again. The distribution between run and pass on this team, when you're losing, it's skewed. And I don't know for the life of me why the 49ers haven't figured this out yet. At the halftime break, it was 16 passes versus only 6 runs. No wonder you were down 14-3. That's not who you are. That's not your identity. And I don't get it. And look, I'm not going to continue to harp on this because obviously the 49ers aren't listening to me. Obviously, Greg Roman could care less. He's going to continue to throw the football. They're going to continue to try to force Colin Kaepernick down the throat of opposing defenses. And so it is what it is. You can sit here and tell me, well, the run wasn't working. How could it be working? That 6 carries isn't a large enough sample size for you to tell me that the run wasn't working. So miss me with that excuse. 16 passes, 6 runs, not a good enough run-pass ratio for this team to have success. That's why you were down 14-3. You're lucky the Rams gave you that opportunity, or else you would have been down by 11 at the half. Instead, you caught a break. It's now 14-10 as we head to the third quarter. 12 plays, 80-yard drive capped off by a 10-yard Anquan Bolden touchdown grab. 49ers take their first lead and the lead for good at 17-14. And this was a great play by Cap. This is what Cap can do. He can extend plays and with the flick of his wrist can throw the football in uncanny positions and can lay it right on the money. And this was one of those plays where he's backing up. You know, only a few quarterbacks can make a throw like this. You got the Joe Flaccos and the Jay Cutlers of the world. Just guys with guns can do this. Bad footwork, doesn't matter. Off balance, it still gets there, and it gets there in a hurry. And this was just, I mean, Janoris Jenkins didn't do a bad play. He didn't do a bad job on this play. It just was you can't defend the perfect pass. You can't defend the perfect pass. And that's what this was. And so now it's 17-14. And then this was this was bad. This was all bad right here. And this is what you're going to get from the young fellas sometimes. Krabs got E.J. Gaines tripping off PCP for a 32-yard touchdown. Let me say that again. Krabs got E.J. Gaines tripping off PCP for a 32-yard touchdown. Did you get that? Did you get it? Oh, forget it. So, what PCP is post corner post. And he put a hell of a post corner post that PCP literally had EJ Gaines tripping. And did you get that? Please tell me you got the joke, man. That was too good of a joke for you. Because EJ Gaines literally fell down and was tripping on the play. Please tell me you got the joke. Man, forget it. Don't worry about it. But look, that made it 24-14. And at this point, I always felt in the back of my mind, if the 49ers ever got even with the St. Louis Rams, they were leaving. They got even when they passed them at 17-14. To me, that extra touchdown was just icing on the cake. At 24-14, the Rams were done at this point because all of the steam, all the momentum that they had built to me, it left when that 80-yard touchdown was given up. All the air left the stadium. All the fight left the bodies of the St. Louis Rams. That's why the 49ers were able to come out, and on their first 2 possessions of the second half, they were able to dominate the third quarter because all the momentum that the Rams had built, gone. One fell swoop. And you could actually trace it back to that penalty that was called, that OPI that was called on Jared Cook Jr. But again, if you stop the 49ers before the half, you're still up 11. I still think the Rams have a great chance of winning this game. But after you give up the 80-yarder, all bets are off after that. And I think that's where the game was lost right there. And just for good measure, the Rams try to make a game of it. They get a couple of key stops, a third down stop, a fourth down stop near the goal line. They're able to get another fourth down stop and able to force the 49ers to give them back the football. They're able to drive the football down the field, get in the field goal range. Austin Davis misses a wide open Jared Cook before a touchdown, really is what it would have been. It was a nice deep out. If he hits him, he turns up the field, gets in the end zone. Instead, he misses him, overthrows him by a little bit. They have to settle for a field goal. And just for good measure, Dante Johnson is able to pick off Austin Davis, get into the end zone. Seemed like we had a couple of games finish like that in week 6. You had the Cardinals-Redskins game finish on a pick 6. You had the Jets-Broncos game finish on a pick 6. You had this game finish on a pick 6. And so your final score ends up being 31-17. These are the type of games that are going to get Jeff Fisher fired right here. These are the type of games that gets your head coach fired. Because there's not too many times your owner is going to be able to sit back, watch your team build a lead, have the crowd and all the momentum in the world, and then blow it. That's the second time that has happened at home, nonetheless. If you do that on the road, okay, I can kind of understand. Even though you build a lead in this league, you need to find a way to protect it. Okay, if it happens on the road, okay, you got me. At home, no excuses. None. You build the lead, you need to protect that lead, and that's the second time the St. Louis Rams. And at some point, you got to ask, where the hell is the pass rush at, man? That's what was supposed to be the backbone of this team. Everybody in this division was supposed to be elite at something. And the one thing the Rams were supposed to be elite at was getting after the quarterback. They were supposed to be better than anybody else in this division at getting after the opposing team's quarterback. They can't get after the quarterback to save their lives. In fact, they just set a new NFL record for lowest amount of sacks for a team as a whole after 5 games, which is mind-boggling. With the talent that is on this team, to only have 1 sack after 5 games, I don't know what is going on. And the mighty Quinn can't sniff the quarterback. You still got, the young boys, Blockers and Donald, they're still getting their feet wet. I just expected more. Even William Hayes is a guy that usually gets pressure on the quarterback. I know Chris Long is out, but you weren't getting pressure before he got injured. So, man, this was a disappointing loss. And again, these are the type of L's that get your head coach fired. And when it's all said and done, if Jeff Fisher doesn't make it out of this season, if at season's end, this team is 5-11, 6-10, and he gets canned, it'll be games like this one and the Cowboys game that you need to turn around and look at and say, hey, those are the games that got Jeff Fisher fired. And so, big win for the 49ers. After trailing 14-0 in this game, to be able to rally back, that's what good teams do. That's what veteran teams do. I still have a problem with this discrepancy with run and pass. If you were playing anybody in this division other than the St. Louis Rams, you lose this football game because you still haven't figured out that the winning formula for this 49ers team is running the football. And until you do that, I look, you're too banged up on defense and you aren't good enough offensively to make the kind of mistakes that you're making with the penalties and with you not running the football enough. So even though you won the game and it was a good win, come from behind, and you pretty much dominated from the start of the second half on, I'm still not fully supportive of what you're doing because you don't beat good teams playing the way you played in this game. That's not going to happen. So I've still got my issues with this 49ers team. Run the football. That's what you do. And that's what you do best. Stop trying to be something that you're not. You're still trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Stop it already. Run the football. That's why you drafted another back in the second round. That's why you still got Frank Gore hanging on. Run the football. Simple. But they get it done 31-17, take their record to 4-2 on the season. Now they're in sole possession of second place, a half a game behind the Arizona Cardinals in this division. Meanwhile, tough loss for the Rams. And again, these are the ones that you're supposed to be able to get. You're up 14-0, you're dominating the game, and you self-destruct at home. Can't happen. It did happen. You're now 1-4 on the season. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll wrap this episode up.
A lot of exciting things happened in week number 6 of the National Football League. Some teams shot up the charts on the power grid. Some have taken a huge step back. Come check out all of the movement here in the lab room on the power grid.
Welcome back, and it's crazy that in week 6, and let's just tack on this quick extra point, we had a lot of injuries, a lot of bumps and bruises in week number 6. A lot of guys done for the season, okay? And I'll run down a list of these guys quickly, and then we'll get out of here. A lot of these injuries are devastating to their teams. Victor Cruz might have been the most disturbing injury of all of the injuries because his was loud, he was screaming. It was all bad, and I don't know Victor Cruz personally, of course, but I'm hearing that he's one of the nicest guys around the league, and it couldn't have happened to a worse guy. And to see, I saw the anguish and the screaming. He was visibly upset. He was crying. You could tell that this meant a lot, and it was hurting like hell. And he busted up his patella tendon, and it's going to be a long rehab process. I'm just glad the man got paid when he did, because had this injury happened prior to him getting paid, oh, hell, it would have been ugly. It would have been a bad situation for everybody involved. So glad he was able to get his bread. Hopefully he's able to be back on the mend sooner rather than later. Our prayers go out to all of these guys who were injured in week number 6. Stephen Ridley tore his ACL and his MCL. He's done for the season in that game versus the Buffalo Bills. So the Patriots always would complain about him. They put him in the doghouse because of his fumbling issues. But they're going to realize he was the best back you had. And now you got to figure out what you're going to do to circumvent this injury at the running back position. Gerard Mayo, though, was the injury to talk about in this game from week 6 against the Bills for the Patriots. He's the unquestioned leader of the defense. Everything they did defensively ran through him. And so now they have to find a way to try to replace him. And I don't think you can replace him with one guy. It's going to have to be a collective effort at that inside linebacker position for this Patriots team, because he was the heart and soul of the center of this defense, and now he's also gone for the entire season. That is a huge detrimental blow to the New England Patriots. Alex Mack, center for the Cleveland Browns, he's done for the season as well. He injured himself in that win versus the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 6, and the Browns were holding out hope that he'd be able to come back, but I just don't see it happening. He's got 2 significant injuries. I don't know exactly what they are, but I know they're significant enough for him probably to not make it back this season. Pretty much safe to say that he's going to be done for the entire rest of this 2014 campaign. D. Milliner shredded his knee. He's done as he blew out his knee in a loss versus the Denver Broncos. It happened on the first play of the game, so he's done for the season. Then you go to Darren Sproles. He sprained his MCL on a tackle versus the Giants. Luckily enough for the Eagles, they're on a bye week. So he may not miss any game action. And if he does, because they're saying it's a 2-week injury, if he does, he'll miss the first game back off the bye at Arizona, but probably will be back for the game after that. So he may not miss that much game time, even though he could be out for 2 weeks. He may only miss 1 game. That could be huge for the Philadelphia Eagles. And finally, Patrick Willis hurt himself in that Monday night matchup versus St. Louis Rams. Did not finish the game. I'm hearing it's a toe injury, and I'm hearing that it also could be serious enough. And we know how these toes are. You hurt that big toe. A lot of people don't know. You've never hurt your big toe. I've hurt my big toe before. Being a baseball player, you hurt your toe all the time. You hurt your toe, and you're not doing anything. The toe is literally much like your back. You don't have your toe, your big toe, forget about it. Forget about it. You're done. And we saw AJ Green have to sit down, and they're talking about AJ Green possibly missing another game or two. Well, Patrick Willis, he's talking about potentially having to miss this Broncos game, so you could be without Bowman and Willis in the middle. What you talking about, Willis? That could be huge if he's not able to go against the Denver Broncos in week number 7. And so that's going to do it for the Tuesday edition of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down each and every single thing in the National Football League. I'll be back tomorrow with PBS, with the Soul Survivor, and I must say I dropped my first Soul Survivor pick, so I'm not happy about that. We'll talk about it tomorrow, though. Have a good one. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Be easy.
In the Lab Room.